Aye. So here we have an LH that has a faulty motherboard in it. It's been determined. This board is under warranty, obviously, so I'm going to swap this out and get it back to them. What I've done in disconnecting these is I went through and I put a little label on each one and their corresponding, just so that I make sure I remember which ones go where, I don't cross anything. Not all of the clips in this controller are used here, so it's a little easy to get confused. You can also just use a piece of colored tape, a masking tape, and a marker. Just in some way you're going to want to mark these. I'm going to try to get a diagram at some point that I can share. We're going to take this donor motherboard and swap her in. This will make it easier. I don't have to disconnect it from this. I'm just going to swap the plate right out, and that should take care of the issue this board's having. Just to note, I didn't bother marking this or this one or these ones because these are very obvious. I am going to have to cut this heat shrink tubing here with the X-Acto knife. It also had little spacers, so I took those off. One thing I also like to do is discharge the capacitors in here, which I have already done, but normally you can do it just by taking a piece of metal and crossing this from here. That'll discharge the capacitor. If you don't do that, then sometimes it'll catch on the frame or something else and spark there. If you accidentally catch it on one of your other circuit boards, it can short it out. So when you disconnect this, make sure to use something, see it's got a rubber handle, something metal that you can cross those with and discharge the capacitors. Also, you can see here, once I've cut off the heat shrink, so the controller is out here and the bottom plate. I can see that all clips except for these two right here were connected. These ones are just loose in there. I just removed these 4 screws on the bottom plate here, and that will release the main controller. So because this plate is sealed down and sealed out for water, it can be a little tricky to get it separated. My best tool is a butter knife. Get all the screws out, slide it right under there. Try to keep it right to the edges so you don't tap in too far. And once you've got it open, you can use something with a little more strength. This guy. And use that to pry it up. Easier to disconnect and label. I'm going to pull these 4 screws. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that you are using a P1 Phillips and fairly low torque. Now I'm going to go ahead and label these again, just so that I know that I'm matching them up correctly. Handy dandy label maker. So basically I'm just going to copy my labeling from this one and use it as my standard or whatever, and then I can just copy it here, and then I'll have this as a reference for when I go to put a new board in this one. Here's what I meant by discharging the capacitor. That way it doesn't accidentally do that on your circuit board or somewhere that it's going to cause an issue. So we're going to remove this burnt T connector and replace it with XT60s. Make sure that you don't cut both of them at the same time, because it will spark and probably zap you. Alright, this is all hooked back up. Got the XT60s on here. Gonna dab some hot glue to help insulate them and hold them in place, and then moment of truth, we'll plug them in together. Alright, we'll see what happens. Moment of truth. Alright, that's a good start. Turn it on, see what it does. Hey! Normally it would probably beep saying it's upside down, but this is upside down, so it looks like we're in business. Threw some extra padding around this battery as well. Now all that's left, just got a silicone right around here. Silicone around here. Attach this motherboard back to here and reassemble. Then we have to flip it over and do the relearn. Just a really nice thin bead will do just fine. You also want to do it across here to help hold that center down. When reinstalling the screws, you can use a drill, but you're going to want to put it on its very lowest torque setting and then hand tighten after that. You do not need to crank these screws down super tight. Just nice hand tighten. Try not to strip them. They just need to be snug. That silicone will hold it in place, as well as just a little bit of tension on these screws. So now that we've got the new controller installed, the next step is the reset. So you hold both pads and hold the power button until it gives 3 beeps. And this will pair the motor with the new controller. And this board should be ready to go. Woo! Warranty repair accomplished.